I've gone to bat for Pirate Software quite a lot. And I try to, let you guys know that when you're coming to me to watch a video, I'm not going to ride any pre-existing hate train without there being a lot of validity to it. Now, once again, has Pirate Software experienced a lot of unjustified hate? Yes, he has. Absolutely. The shit with OnlyFans, all those people are hypocrites. The shit with the gay furry shit, weird as fuck. The SKG shit, that's justified hate. It is. It is absolutely justified hate. When it comes to Pirate Software, he has the same effect as saying Tectone bad on the internet and getting hundreds of thousands of views. However, this channel has 11,000 subs. And this guy uploaded the video yesterday and it amassed 500,000 views. And this is about Pirate Software's game Heartbound, or as a lot of people call it, Sharpbound. So let's see what this is. I am so curious what the hell this shit's about.
Pirate Software is an indie game dev streamer who promoted the idea that anyone can make a game. With the help of a definitely not fake, sultry, deep voice, he became the biggest indie game developer creator on all of Twitch and YouTube.
Do people really think the voice is fake? Is that like an actual thing? Like, is there any grounds for that to have happened? Check Emily interview. It's not fake per se, but he definitely uses reverb on his streaming mic. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, okay.
YouTube. However, all of that came crashing down once people figured out that his entire...
I've never once considered changing my mic settings to make it sound better. This one? What's this? Uh-oh.
For Comic-Con, I'm HB Duran for Video Game News Source, and I'm here, guess where? With the games, of course. I'm here with Thor, founder of Pirates.
I'm scared that he's going to sound like a little boy. This is 8 years ago. Hold up.
Software, how's your show been so far?
It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic-Con, and there's so many people, and they love.
I don't know, guys. Like, I kind of feel like this is just a bad mic quality. Am I crazy? Is there any other video?
Love the games, so it's been awesome.
So speaking of games,
another clip. Okay, here, let's do two clips here.
I have to peel my hot dog. I have to peel it. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled.
Oh my God, it's fake. Oh my God. No, it's fake 100%, man. There's definitely some microphone settings making that shit a lot more deep and sultry than it needs to be. Hold up. Extra Emily interview. No way. No way.
Hello, everyone. I am super glad to be back with the one and only Pirate Software.
Nice to meet you finally. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice to meet you too, Pirate. Thank you for all the kind words and everything. Yep. So you are nominated for software and development category. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Software and game development's finally a category in Twitch, and now it's...
Oh my God, he 1,000,000% uses a reverb setting on his microphone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 100% he has a filter on. Okay. All right. That's crazy. All right, anyways.
Persona was a lie. He claimed to have been working in the gaming industry for over 20 years. The reality is, his daddy got him a job in QA at Blizzard, and from there he went on to send phishing emails, basically asking people politely for the passwords. Obviously, that calls into question his supposed expertise.
Sure.
But he is always primarily focused on indie games, and he has made an indie game. So who cares if all of his experience at Blizzard is fake? The question we should be asking is his indie game any good? I mean, the answer is obviously no. But how bad really is it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Than you could possibly imagine. What made me look into the game in the first place was being shown the code from the game. And I say, with no exaggeration, it is the worst I have ever seen. It is baffling in the sense that I genuinely believe it was made bad on purpose. But I'll leave the code review till the end of the video. But just keep that in mind while I'm describing the game, that the underlying code is a jumbled mess of incoherent nonsense. So without further ado, subscribe to Lord Frogmire.
Guys, should I play Heartbound? It's hardly a game. It's like one chapter. This could be really good content. I played his game.
And let's look at this absolute piece of shit. So let's start with going over the gameplay. And we're going to be able to go over literally every single piece of gameplay that is not walking or talking, because there is genuinely that little within a single route of the game, because that's all I played. You could not pay me $10,000 to play any more of this game.
It looks like Undertale.
There are exactly 3 puzzle sections, 5 total puzzles, and this is being very generous with what I consider a puzzle, by the way. A single combat section, one battle, yes, one that is repeated, so that's 2 total battles, but only 1 unique fight, and 2 minigames. That's it. If you want to be extremely generous, there is 1 more minigame, puzzle. Literally, all you do is click on a couple objects. Yes, that's
The
literally
frog's
it,
really
but
cute.
Technically, that's better than just walking and talking. This was a Kickstarter
So that's gotta
game,
count for
by
something.
the way. A Kickstarter game that advertised its combat, which its only unique combat encounter was advertised in the Kickstarter campaign that was funded in 2017 and raised $20,000. So in 8 years, he could not make a single combat encounter that he advertised as a primary part of the game with $20,000, let alone all of the sales the game got once it was released in early access. So while I'm going over the very limited gameplay that actually exists in the game, remember that this was a Kickstarter scam
That sounds
was
really rough.
advertised as a real RPG with real gameplay. Okay, so our first section of gameplay is a long...
Dude, how did Pirate Software go from being one of the most beloved streamers on the entire platform to now everybody shits on this guy? It's actually crazy. Like, like everybody fucking hates this guy now, bro. Oh my god.
Pushing puzzles.
His ego,
This
yeah.
is how generous I was being
That's
when I
pretty
said
much
there
what
were
everybody
5
says.
puzzles in the game. I don't think there's really anything to discuss here, because if there wasn't so few gameplay sections to begin with, no one would ever mention this. Okay, now we have the first and only unique combat encounter that was shown in the Kickstarter trailer. It is a WarioWare minigame compilation and is perfectly serviceable for a tutorial encounter. Not all of the combat in the entire game. All it is 4 very simple micro games where if you succeed, the enemy takes damage, and if you fail, you take damage. That's it. Perfectly serviceable, but very simple, very basic. This encounter is about 1 minute long. And remember, that is 1 of 2 encounters that are in the game. From here, we now have 3 puzzles in a row. Only 1 more puzzle exists in the game after this. And if I wasn't being so generous, I wouldn't call them puzzles at all. And I don't mean that they're easy. Do you remember those little things that babies use? Where it's a circle hole and a circle block and a triangle hole and a triangle block? That's what I would call an easy puzzle. What makes it a puzzle is you still have options. You could fuck up and try and put the triangle block in the circle hole.
Right, of course.
That's not what these puzzles are. These, you have a square hole and a square block and literally nothing else. You cannot fail these.
No.
There is only one option. If you try the only possible thing, you will complete the puzzle. Look at this first puzzle. You can only push these blocks and nothing else. You can only push those blocks in one direction, nowhere else, and that's all you have to do. Push those 2 blocks in the only places they can possibly go, and you have now completed the puzzle. And you might say, maybe that's just to teach you the mechanics, but it doesn't get better from there. Puzzle number 2. All you can interact with are the switches. There is nothing else you can do. All you have to do is keep activating switches until you win. You could close your eyes.
Is it bad that these are kind of like the status quo in every single gacha game where like you just literally just couldn't fuck up? And so I'm like, it's not so bad, guys. No, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Man, that's bad. Okay. All right.
You do not have to think. There is no fail state. You just hit the switches until you succeed. Hit every switch to complete the puzzle. That's what I'm talking about when I say it's square peg and square hole. All you have to do is try and you succeed. As long as you are engaging with the game at all, you're moving forward. There is no thought necessary at all. That's why I don't consider it a puzzle. There is no triangle block for you to put in the square hole. And puzzle number 3 is literally the exact same thing as puzzle number 1. All you have to do is push the only blocks that you could possibly push in the only direction they will possibly go, then you flip the switches and you've succeeded. Literally no thought whatsoever. It's not a puzzle, but I'm being generous, so we'll give it to them. There are now 4 puzzles in the game, and you see the quality. 1 combat encounter, 4 puzzles. We're almost done with all of the gameplay,
guys.
by the way.
No, this is huge.
That was in the game in 2017. After this, you get the final combat encounter in the entire game, which is the exact same fight as before, except this time you get to fight him for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So that means in this game that has been developed for over 8 years, there is 3 minutes and 30 seconds of combat. $20,000, by the way. Do you feel scammed yet? Well, we still have 1 more puzzle and 2 mini games to go, so save your judgment. This last puzzle is the only thing I would even consider a puzzle in the game, and all it is your
$20,000 for 30 seconds of gameplay. That sounds like anybody pulling for a max constellation unit in Genshin Impact.
searching a room for
And those people love it, man. Wow.
clues to a 4-digit code. Yup, that's it. But it is a puzzle. You do have to try and figure out what the numbers are. So I'll give it to him. The game has one real puzzle. And the best part about it is you can just skip it. If you don't want to do it, the game tells you can just input 7 ones and it'll let you through anyway. Who knows what the punishment is for that, but I'm sure it doesn't matter. I did actually do the puzzle though, because I wanted to experience all this game had to offer. Was it worth it? Honestly, at this point, yes it was, because at least I got to play some video game in my video game. Okay, moving on. We're almost done. On to the first mini game of only 2, so it better be worth it. It is a game in which you get a picture of either a sandwich or a soda, and then you have to give them the sandwich or soda in the order they ask for. So if they ask for a soda sandwich, you give them a soda, then you give them a sandwich. They ask for sandwich, you give them a sandwich, and then a sandwich. Does this sound fun? Does it sound interesting? Does it sound like it took 8 years to make? And that's half. Half of all of the mini games in this video game is this. Just soak it in
bro?
for
You
a
don't like
second. I want
Overcooked?
you to
What do you
burn
mean?
this into your mind.
What,
When we
bro?
move
What?
on to talk about the
That
code
was
and
great.
how bad it
So
is, I
good.
want you to keep in mind what he's coding, like what he's doing this for. Think to yourself, could this be done in
it's Team
RPG Maker?
Overcooked.
So far, except the one and only combat encounter, there is nothing here that could not be done in RPG Maker with literally no coding at all. But maybe this last minigame will
Man, this
change my
looks
mind.
fucking
It'll
monotonous
truly
as
blow
shit.
everything else out of the water. Nope, it's just as bad as everything else. Come on, what did you expect? This is something that you make for your first game. It is one step beyond Hello World. It is a game in which you must dodge falling objects. Yes, I know, you're technically supposed to be running forward, but programming-wise, that's literally all it is. You're dodging falling objects while trying to hit the object you want. That's it. There's nothing else to it. This is something you teach a middle schooler how to do for their very first coding class, and that's all of the gameplay in the whole game. And looking at all this, I just don't get it. Like, I'm genuinely confused. When Pirate Software told everyone that he worked on video games for 20 years, that he worked as a hacker, why did anyone believe him when this was what he was putting out? Why did it take this long for people to call him out for being a fraud when this is his magnum opus that took him 8 years? 8 years of perfecting your craft for something a
Guys, is
middle
he still
schooler
working
could
on this
make.
shit?
This isn't the work of a professional. This isn't even the work of an amateur. It's pathetic. The worst part is, after scamming his own fans out of $20,000 and more, he has the balls to bait you into thinking there was another boss fight. You are seconds away from fighting an enemy literally called boss, and it fakes you out with a fake battle screen only to give a shitty Chrono Trigger-esque judgment segment where you hurt the boss by making good decisions. This is what I'm talking about, where I say it's baffling that it's taken this long for someone to call this guy out. He's been literally scamming and fucking with his own fans for years. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It's time to talk about the story, and that was
But it
clearly
was
the focus of
epic.
the game. Because the gameplay is only about, and I'm being very
dude.
generous here, 10 minutes. So the rest of this entire game is walking around and talking to NPCs. So is the writing good? I mean, come on. That's not even a rhetorical at this point, because I know you're not asking it. Obviously, it's bad. Of course it's bad. But compared to the gameplay, it's not that bad. I would describe it as general 13-year-old girl writing. Like maybe something
Sure.
you'd see on someone's Tumblr
Like
fanfiction
Homestuck.
account, like about that level. There are a couple really cringy lines of dialogue that are funny. Like he unironically says sad armadillo noises, but it doesn't really get any more interesting than that. The real problem with the story of this game is the same problem you see in any teenage writing, that the game never gives you a reason to care about anything. Going back to that fake out
sad
boss fight,
turtle
this is a boss fight
noises.
where it's revealed that it's your mom, that you have mommy issues, and you defeat her by proving that you're not like her, where she accuses you of being evil, and then it checks your previous actions to see if they line up with her beliefs. And if you defied her and were a good person, you defeat her. It's clearly supposed to be a big emotional moment. The problem is we have no reason to care about any of this because before this exchange, there's literally only one encounter with your mom that you weren't even there for. It's a flashback of your mom talking to your dad where she calls you lazy and the dad pathetic. That's it.
Johnny isn't understanding why it matters if his game sucks. There are tons of shit games on Steam that we just don't buy. Well, it's just kind of just like if I were to like fancy myself a degree above the rest for my skills in the industry and my creation in the industry, and then you look at the creation in their industry, and it's like, you know, it's like you know, Gordon Ramsay's like, oh, I have all these recipes, and then it's like, oh, all you've done is cook a hamburger, right? So it's like when you put yourself on that pedestal, and you look at what put you and elevated you to that height, and it's like a pile of garbage, well, then obviously people are going to be upset, right? They're going to call you a phony, right?
There's nothing else. There is no other reason to believe the mom is even abusive, let alone so evil that we had to have a boss fight about it. And that's not even the worst part, where she chastises you for your decisions that include decisions you didn't even make. She accuses you of killing this character when I didn't even have the option. If I knew I could kill that character, I probably would have. It would have been funny. So when she's like, oh, I bet you killed that guy, and you're like, no, I would never do that. Except I would totally do that. I just never got the option. It doesn't show good moral character to just not press A on every possible thing. And the worst example of the game failing to make you care about something is the whole point of the game. The reason why you're doing everything in the center of your character is that your dog dies. Your talking dog, who's your best friend, dies, and you must go save him, sort of. Yeah, it really seems like he's dead forever, but that's what you're trying to do, is save him. The problem being, you literally only spend the first 5 minutes of the game with the dog. Why in the fuck should I care about this dog? I have spent no time with him. I know nothing about him.
Man.
I know they're friends. That's it. That's like someone going up to you and being like, hey, my neighbor...
Bro doesn't have a dog. Bro doesn't get it. That's all right, man. Don't worry, Thor. I get it. It's cute. It's your dog, man. That's everything to you.
His brother's daughter's dog died. Isn't that sad? And you'd be like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's sad. That sucks. But I don't care. It doesn't make me want to play this whole game and fight for whatever. You have to get me to care about this. Show me how the dog helped him deal with his abusive mother. You have to show me that. This is literally first grade writing, by the way, by a 40-year-old man. Yes, this game that looks like it was made by a teenage girl and is written like it was made by a teenage girl was made by a 37-year-old man. I mean, there really isn't anything else to talk about the story. Nothing happens. The real problem is the game doesn't have real characters. They're all...
Can we stop age shaming, guys? I mean, listen. Thor is a gay furry. He is. We've already seen that, right? You don't stop being a gay furry just because you're 37. Let's stop age shaming, guys, all right? And this is coming from a 31-year-old chipper young man. You know, let's leave the guy alone, you know what I'm saying?
Just caricatures. The only character that has more than a handful of lines is the main character, and the only thing I know about him is that he cares about his dog, and he has an
But what about Hassan? Hassan's 45, it's different.
abusive mother. Maybe he's a bit sarcastic sometimes. I don't even know what he likes, what he dislikes. What does he have fun doing? How does he feel about things? Is he right wing? Is he left wing? How would he feel about the Federal Reserve? I don't know. I don't know anything about him. And I actually read every piece of mandatory dialogue. It's not like I was just skipping through things. The game is just so busy trying to make funny lines that are profoundly cringe that it never tries to say anything about anything. Actually, it does try and make one statement. It does have a line about how in the corporate world, you never go up, you only go sideways. No, Thor, that's just you, and it's because you're bad. No one was ever going to promote you out of QA when you can't fucking program, you can't write, and you're clearly an idiot. And what doesn't help the story is how much you know he's holding back, and for no reason. Another very common novice writer mistake is focusing too much on the reveal and not enough on the build-up. After your dog dies, you're feeling constant guilt, where it's like, oh, it's your fault, you killed the dog, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's rough, boys, that's rough.
How the dog dies is you're just asleep, and you wake up, and the dog is dead. It has nothing to do with you. A monster killed it while you were asleep. It couldn't possibly be your fault. So clearly, there is some kind of reveal later in the game where the dog died for a real reason, and the monster's not real, or something like that. Because as it is now, it doesn't make any sense. I have no reason to be like, I killed this dog. I didn't do anything, and neither did the kid. And there's no reason for him to feel this way. It just doesn't make sense. So the story's bad. The gameplay's bad. What else is there? What could possibly make this game worth playing? Well, one of the big selling points is the multiple routes, that all of your decisions matter. I've already told you.
Don't tell me the decisions don't matter. How long is this game? 4 to 5 hours. Guys, we might have to play this. We might have to play this. We might have to play this.
I only played one route, the good route, and if you've listened to a single word I've said so far, you know exactly why. But let me tell you now, the decision making is just as bad as the rest of the game. You literally have an evil voice telling you which is the bad option and which is the good option. It is literally as overt as listen to this character's problems and be nice, or kill them. And just in case it's slightly more subtle than hitting you in the back of the head with a sledgehammer, you have the evil voice in your head telling you what the evil option is. No, the choices obviously don't matter, because being forced to play this game again is a form of cruel and unusual punishment. But that's the whole game. That's it. And why do you think there is so little? Probably because there's only one completed chapter. Yes, that's it. You have one chapter.
You know what this video reminds me of? Old JonTron videos. Which, by the way, JonTron was one of the greatest YouTube creators of all time, right? Like the seething hatred that this guy has for this game. Oh, it's so refreshing. Genuinely. Now, JonTron was at least funny. I think this video is actually pretty funny, to be honest. I think just unadulterated rage is hilarious to me. He's jaded as fuck. Oh yeah, I love jaded videos.
About, who knows, maybe half of chapter 2, maybe it's 75%.
I will admit, like, there's definitely a couple pot shots at Pirate that, like, you know, a little bit unclassy. But that being said, bro never acted like he was classy, right?
I have no idea how much more there could be. And then the very opening of chapter 3. That's all that's completed in 8 years. He's completed 1 chapter of an unplayably bad game. So yeah, maybe there's more character development in the rest of the game. And maybe they'll make me really care about that dead dog. But I have the strangest feeling that none of that's ever going to happen, that the game is never going to be finished. Because at this rate, it's going to take him the rest of his life. He will die before this game is completed. So is the game worth playing? No. Is it bad? Obviously.
I'll be the judge of that. We're going to be doing a Heartbound stream very soon, guys.
This is something
I'll
a
be the judge of
teenage
that.
girl makes for a school project in RPG Maker. Not
If my brother wasn't here right now, I would be playing this right now, but I want to go hang out with him later. But we're going to be playing this very soon once he leaves.
something made by a nearly 40-year-old man on a 3-person team. Now it's finally time to talk about the code. Now that you have the full context, you can understand not only why is this bad, but why it was completely unnecessary, because the entire game could be made with no coding at all in RPG Maker. 99% of the game is just walking around and talking to people. RPG Maker games with no RPG element that are just walking and talking have been made since the beginning of fucking time. This game would actually be better if it was made in RPG Maker, because he fucked up something as simple as just showing text on the screen. How the game works is you left click to enter dialogue. Then if you're going to progress the text, which you're going to have to do if you can read at a first grade level, you must then right click. Then if you want to move on to the next text box, you can't right click, you have to left click again. So just reading is this song and dance of left click, right click, left click, left click, right click, left click. You see how that might get annoying really fucking fast?
What?
Or if you're as bored as I was, it's the only fun part of the game. Anyway, there you go. That's it. This is the code I wanted to talk about. No, it's not the 1000.
What the fuck is this instance underscore destroy? What the fuck is this?
Element switch statement. Yes.
I do have some history in HTML, CSS, and Java. About 2 years. Not too much, but I've never heard of instance destroy.
That's real. No, it's not the array of flags with 560 elements all listed out in a row. Yes, that exists also. It's just this. Now, if you've never coded before, you might not understand why this is so bad, that this was so shocking that it made me create this video.
What?
Let me start by explaining what a switch is. The switch is a form of go to, because literally all it does is go to a section of code. That's it. In this case, we take the argument global.storyline array 333. God, that is insane to say, by the way. And based on what that value is, we go to that case. So if the value is 1, we go to case 1. If the value is 2, we go to case 2. And this doesn't have to be in order. You could have case 333 and then case 12 right after that. You can do whatever you want. It's just whatever the value is, we go to the case that has that value. Now, the much simpler version of this is an if statement. All an if statement is if whatever is in those parentheses is true, then we do what's in that block. Now that you understand those two things, you are now a better programmer than our hacker genius here. Because what you see here is complete absurdity. He does not know the purpose of an if statement or a switch or how to use them. I'm going to give you 1 second to see what is wrong with the switch. All right, you ready? Why is it not an if? Why is there code that even says do nothing? Want to know how you do nothing in code? You just don't write it. So if we delete case 2, again, there's nothing there. There's nothing to do. If we just got rid of it, it'd be exactly the same. We are now left with a switch that has a singular case. So what that means is we check what is the value of our global whatever the fuck. If it is 1, we go to case 1. And there is nothing else to check because there are no other cases. Do you see the problem now?
Yeah.
We could literally just write this as an if statement. And what's the peak absurdity is that's literally what he did directly above this. So he did it right, then immediately did it wrong right after. And even then, it's still not correct. I'll give you one more programming concept. There's something called a bool. That is what the if statement is checking for. It's checking for a Boolean. A Boolean is either true or false. However, that can also be represented as a number, where 0 is false and everything else is true. So in this if statement, he's asking, is global array, whatever the fuck, equal to 1? Do you see the problem there? He literally has a comment confirming that what is in that array is a Boolean. So there is no reason to be checking for anything. All you do is put global.storyline array 367 and then end it there. And it works exactly the same. And then he could just do the exact same thing right below that. Global.storyline array 333 and then end it there. No switch statement, no nothing, just an if. And I'm not even going to talk about how both of those blocks of code are literally doing the exact same thing. Both of them are only calling instance destroyed. So you could literally do an or there, and then you can combine all of it into one line. And this is the point. This is why it makes me mad, because he wants his code to be big. That's the point. I've seen a bunch of code reviews on his code. 2 very great videos about this, but I had to make this video because they don't point out what's important is he's doing this intentionally. He's clearly doing this to make himself look smarter, because his dumb fans who don't know how to code look at that and think, whoa, look at all that code. He must be a genius. He thinks more code equals better code because he's an
You should have said, this guy doesn't like Pirate Software. More code equals more better, guys.
idiot, and his fans are stupid too. Look at here. I'll just give you one more example. Look at this. Do you see how it's a list of things where he's literally doing the exact same thing every
more code,
time?
more better.
All of this could be done. A single for loop. Yes, just one loop. Literally, all for loop is we do one thing over and over again until we hit the number of repetitions we want. And we can increment by any amount we want. In this case, we would definitely increment by 1. And the cool thing is, we get access to that incrementer, so we don't have to write the number every single time. But you see the problem with that is, he would have less code, and then it would look less cool. He wants these giant blocks of code. He's an idiot. He's dumb. He thinks big blocks of code means he's doing a lot of work. What a fucking dipshit. Can you imagine him just typing out over and over and over again, line after line?
You know, some people might call this guy harsh, but let's be real. Pirate Software went way harder on European Asmongold when talking about his introduction to SKG. Like, let's just be real, right? Let's just be real.
Line after line of the exact same thing.
This is dog shit. Eat my entire ass.
Being like, man, I guess there's no better way of doing this.
God.
Maybe he's that stupid. Honestly, he probably is. But at least part of it has to be him trying to look cool with these giant chunks of text. That's why he doesn't use loops. That's why he used a switch statement when he could use an if. That's why he's checking if true equals true. Yes, that's literally what this means. What he's typing here is true equals true. That's why he refuses to write true or false instead of 0 or 1, because numbers look cooler than true or false. That's why he refuses to use functions and will literally just repeat the exact same steps over and over again. It's because he wants to look cool. He's a child. Everything in this video so far can be explained by the fact that he is a man-child. He is a 37-year-old teenage girl. He codes like a teenager. He writes like a teenager, and he makes big, exaggerated lies just like a teenager. And just like a teenager, he will never admit when he's wrong. And that's why this entire controversy happened. It has nothing to do with Stop Killing Games. It has nothing to do with him letting his friends die in World of Warcraft. It's that he's a child who refuses to grow up. And if you give a child millions of dollars and a ton of attention, they will fuck up eventually. And he'll never learn. You just know he'll never learn. You don't get to 37 acting like a child and even have the capability of learning. And I want to make it very clear, there is nothing wrong with writing bad code. There's nothing wrong with making a bad game. There's nothing wrong with writing embarrassing dialogue.
Sure.
The problem with Pirate Software and why he is being mocked endlessly is he acts like an expert when he's worse than a novice. And the only reason he's this bad after working on a game for 8 years is because he already thinks he's perfect. When you think you're perfect, you have no reason to learn anymore. You should not be afraid of failing, of making shitty things. What you should be afraid of is not learning from it. But that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Lord Frogmire. It is only thanks to my stream chat that I made this video in the first place. Maybe next stream.
I'm going to subscribe to this guy, and my God. Bro, it just Grim Reapered this guy's whole fucking game. Oh my God. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will be playing Pirate Software's game. Jesus, it's over for him. Pirate Software. Oh my God. What a video, man. Go like, comment, subscribe to that guy. That was great.